There's a brutal, complex war happening in Sudan right now, and it's almost completely hidden from the world's headlines. So today, we're going to follow the trail of blood, gold, and power to really understand how a nation got pushed to the absolute brink and what the rest of the world is choosing to just ignore.
You know, that sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, right? But it's not. It's a direct quote from researchers at Yale. After they looked at satellite images of Darfur, they confirmed the ground itself is stained red from the sheer volume of bloodshed in the streets, near hospitals. It's a terrifying, almost unbelievable reality.
And that right there, that's the human cost behind those images. In just one city, Fasher, after it fell to the paramilitary group called the RSF, it's estimated over 1,500 people were killed in just 4 days. And we all know the real number is probably much, much higher. This isn't just a battle, it's an absolute massacre.
So, what are we actually looking at here? Is this just a civil war? A simple power struggle between two generals? Or is it something darker, like an ethnic cleansing campaign that echoes the country's horrible past? Or is it something else entirely, a modern resource war fought for cold, hard profit? To get to the bottom of it, we have to look at the men at the center of this storm.
Okay, so the whole thing really boils down to a nasty falling out between two guys who used to be allies. To get what's happening now, you've got to understand them first.
So on one side, you've got Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. He's the head of the official Sudanese army, a career military guy. He's the establishment. And on the other side, you have Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, but everyone calls him Hemeti. He's the commander of the RSF, a man who came up from the infamous Janjaweed militias. He was Burhan's number 2, the outsider who, clawed his way right to the top.
And this timeline, it tells you a really critical part of the story. These guys weren't always trying to kill each other. They actually built their careers together, serving under President Omar al-Bashir during the genocide in Darfur. Then Hemeti went and created his own personal power base, the RSF. By 2019, they were so powerful they teamed up to overthrow their old boss. But that alliance, it completely fell apart in 2023. So what was the final spark? Well, Burhan demanded that Hemeti's RSF merge into the National Army. Hemeti said no way, and on April 15th, the whole country just exploded.
But look, this isn't just about two guys' egos clashing. The way the RSF is acting, the sheer brutality of it, especially towards regular people, that points to something much darker. And to understand it, well, you just have to follow the money.
So, why this insane level of violence? Well, a few big reasons. First, you have to remember where the RSF came from. They grew out of the Janjaweed militia, and their whole strategy was always terror. Killing civilians is just part of their playbook. Second, there's a clear ethnic angle. Hemeti's forces are mostly Arab, and they're fighting in Darfur, which is dominated by non-Arab groups. But really, underneath all of that is a cold, hard strategy. Use that ethnic violence to scare people off their land so you can seize control of what's underneath it. And in Darfur, that means gold.
And this is what they're fighting for. In 2024 alone, gold worth an estimated $860 million was pulled from mines in Darfur. Mines controlled by the RSF. This isn't just a war. It's bankrolling a massive, illicit business empire. And this number, this just perfectly captures the tragedy of it all. I mean, think about it. Hemeti's crew is pulling almost $1 billion worth of gold out of the ground, while 82% of the people in Sudan are living below the poverty line. Millions are on the verge of starvation. The country's wealth is literally being stolen while its people starve. And that brings us to a really big question. How does a militia, a paramilitary group, get strong enough, powerful enough to take on a whole national army? They don't just find this kind of sophisticated weaponry lying around. They needed a backer, a powerful international patron who saw an opportunity in all this chaos.
And when you start to trace where the weapons, the drones, and the money are coming from, the trail leads straight to one of the richest countries in the Middle East, the United Arab Emirates.
And look, the evidence here is pretty damning, and it's coming from all over the place. You've got leaked UN docs that found Emirati passports in the wreckage of a cargo plane in Sudan. You have Amnesty International, Middle East Eye, and even US intelligence all confirming that the UAE is sending the RSF advanced weapons, everything from guided bombs to Chinese-made drones that have been absolutely devastating.
So why? Why would the UAE get involved in something like this? The key phrase you need to know is economic diversification. The UAE is smart. They know their oil money won't last forever, so they're aggressively hunting for new ways to make money, to build wealth for a future without oil. And one of the most stable assets on planet Earth is gold. So this is the UAE's playbook, right? It's basically a three-step plan. First, you arm and fund Hemedti's guys to make sure they win the war. Step 2, once he's in charge, you get control over all that gold in Darfur to build up your post-oil fortune. And finally, Step 3, you use a friendly Sudan as a strategic base on the Red Sea to project your power all across the region. It's a cold, calculated plan for profit and power, pure and simple.
So let's just recap what we have here. You've got this brutal internal war, right? It's fueled by old ethnic hatreds and just pure greed. And now it's being supercharged by a rich foreign country looking out for its own bottom line. The result is an entire nation being torn to shreds.
And this shows you the grim reality of what's happening. Yeah, on paper, the official army still controls a bit more land. But look at where the RSF is. They control the most valuable parts, the places with all the gold in Darfur. The country's economic heart has been ripped out and is now in the hands of a paramilitary force.
So what's the rest of the world doing about this? Well, not much. Mostly just silence. There was an attempt to take the UAE to a war tribunal, but it got thrown out for lack of proof. Western countries, who don't want to upset a powerful economic partner, have pretty much just looked the other way. And that's basically a green light for the violence and the looting to just keep going.
Which leaves us with the really uncomfortable question. Are we watching a new kind of colonialism take shape? A quiet, vicious conquest that's not for flags or for glory, but for balance sheets and mineral rights. A 21st century scramble for Africa fought with drones and proxy armies where the riches are silently siphoned out of a broken country. That's a question we all need to be asking.
Subscribe, like, comment.